Have you ever heard a voice echo through an empty hallway, long after everyone's gone? Because at my university, sometimes lectures don't end at midnight. They begin. This isn't a story I want to tell, but every night since that class, I still hear my name being called from that same lecture hall. It happened during my junior year at Ravenwood University, a quiet campus in Pennsylvania. I was a film major, always up late editing projects, so midnight wasn't unusual for me. That night I was walking back from the media lab when I noticed something strange. Lecture Hall B12, which was always locked after 10, had its lights on. At first I thought maybe a late seminar was running, but when I checked the schedule on the door, there was nothing. No classes, no bookings, no reason for anyone to be inside. But through the glass window I could see students sitting in rows, perfectly still, and a professor, pacing slowly across the front, except I recognized that face, Professor Heller. He'd died 2 years ago. I remember standing there frozen. It couldn't be real. I blinked, rubbed my eyes, and looked again. The room looked normal, empty. So I laughed it off. Told myself I'd been working too late. But when I turned to leave, I heard it. A faint whisper from behind the door. "You're late, Daniel." My blood ran cold. That was my name. I looked again. Now the door was slightly open, and the lights flickered, as if something was moving inside. Curiosity or stupidity pulled me in. The room was freezing. The air smelled like old books and burnt wires. All the seats were empty except for one, in the back row. Someone was sitting there, hunched over a notebook. When I took a step forward, the chalkboard lit up on its own. Words began to appear, scratched into the surface like nails on glass. Lecture 12, attendance required. My phone screen glitched. Every camera app showed static. And then, the projector came on. It was showing me, standing right there, staring at the board. That's when I heard footsteps, behind me, slow and deliberate. A voice spoke from the podium, deep, calm, familiar. "Welcome back, class." Professor Heller. He was there, standing in the same tweed jacket he always wore. But his eyes were wrong, completely black, like ink. I couldn't move, couldn't even breathe. He smiled and said, "You missed the last lecture, Daniel. Don't worry, this one's eternal." The walls began to pulse, like the room itself was breathing. Every desk started shaking. Papers flew into the air, forming shapes, faces, students screaming silently. I ran. I sprinted out the door, down the hall, and didn't stop until I reached the quad. When I turned back, the building was completely dark. Campus security found me pacing outside at 3:07 a.m., covered in dust, shaking. They said Hall B12 had been sealed off for years, since a fire during a midnight lecture killed 12 students and their professor. The same Professor Heller. They never found their bodies. Only 12 burned desks, and one seat left empty. For weeks, I tried to convince myself it was a hallucination. But then, the notebook appeared in my dorm. My name was written inside it, under attendance list, and next to it, the number 13. I was the 13th. Since then, every night at 12 a.m. my computer turns on by itself. A live feed appears, showing an empty lecture hall. But last night, I saw someone sitting in the back row. He looked exactly like me. If you ever find yourself walking across campus after midnight, and you see a light flicker in a locked classroom, keep walking, because some lectures aren't meant for the living. And if you think this story ends here, it doesn't. Because there's another building at Ravenwood, one they never reopened, and the things inside that one make this lecture look like orientation. Stay tuned, because my next story will show you what happens when someone actually attends the midnight class. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe before the lights go out.